house. My main man, the homie, got my man Fluid. What's going on, Fluid?
Man, what's going on with you, bro? I'm happy to be here, bro. Thanks for having me on here again. Appreciate it.
Nah, man, you always welcome. You always welcome here, man. So, yeah, I wanted to ask you something right quick, man. You an entertainer, so you know, I wanted to get your thoughts on Texas and Mississippi recently deciding that they're going to go to 100%, basically mass or optional. As far as shows go, everything is open from the strip club to the movie theater. You can pack the arenas, you can pack everything. So, what's your thoughts on that? Texas saying they are 100%, and while me and you stuck in Cali still on lockdown.
I think, man, honestly, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. And the reason why I say that is opening things back up is not necessarily a bad thing within itself, but I think you just got to be, people have to be willing to still take the precautions that they need to take so that they don't get sick. I mean, people have to understand in the world that yes, I know we all bored, we all are eager to jump back into life as we had it, but you still got to be willing to take certain precautions. Now, I think as long as people are still trying to at least kind of try to do some social distancing and still wear masks when it's appropriate to wear them, especially if you're going to be like in large groups. I think that's a good thing. I think there's a lot of money to be made for us to get back out there and like do tours and do shows as artists, but it just has to be something that we got to be careful about how we do it. Is basically is what I think. Because you don't want to turn like any of these concerts into a super spreader event. You know what I mean? You don't want to, we don't want to follow in Trump's footsteps. His little rallies and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. That's all I've been saying for the longest. I didn't say we should go 100%, but I thought we could find some common ground where we could do the social distance, but at the same time try to live the new normal. But where we at now, it's just like, God damn, it's just like, can you work with us on something? Can you open up some? Can you at least let us go to the gym? I mean, it's like it's only so many damn times we could go to the mall. Shit, you don't go to the mall just to browse. You go to the mall unless you know what I'm saying. You going to buy something. Now the mall is like a damn hangout spot, and I feel like this. There's a lot of business to be conducted. We in one of the biggest states in the country. So I feel like this.
True.
This would be something that we could do. So that's all I'm saying. So I wanted to ask you, hopefully, do you think within the next maybe 6 months, California at least be at maybe 50%? Because I don't know if next year the Super Bowl is in Los Angeles, and I feel like that's opportunity for us. We from Cali. I feel like that's a Super Bowl weekend. Do you feel like maybe at least there'll be something going on? We maybe 40%.
I think we could get. I think it's possible for us to get to like 40 to 50%. I would kind of say probably maybe closer towards the 40, but I think for that to happen, that's going to be dependent upon how willing us people in California are, how willing we're going to be to like listen to direction, follow safety precautions. I think if we keep having people who want to fight against this mask thing, then no, they're not going to open things back up because it's a safety issue. And I think people have to understand, in order for us to get a little bit, we got to be willing to give a little bit too. We're in a pandemic. None of us want to be in it, but we're here. We're in it. It's been proven that this is something that could kill us if you get it. So, you know, either you want to take the proper precautions or you don't. And if you don't take the proper precautions, then you become a liability for a lot of these businesses that want to open back up. So we got to I think if we want to get to the 40, 50%, then these knuckleheads out here that don't want to do what they're supposed to do, that don't want to distance and don't want to wear masks, they're going to have to step it up and they're going to have to just give in and do it. Otherwise, if you don't want to do that, then you're going to have to be content to keep sitting at home.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. So what have you been doing since the last time I spoke with you? I know you stay grinding, so I know you got some heat probably you want to drop, or so what have you been up to since the last time I talked to you?
Actually, since the last time I talked to you, I have dropped two singles. I dropped a lyric video for one of the singles. It's not an actual visual, but just a still picture with the lyrics going across. But one of the songs I dropped is called "Land of the Free." I actually dropped that on President's Day. I wanted to because I wanted to drop
Jan.
something before Donald Trump got out of office. And basically the song basically
Okay.
deals with the song was basically a reaction to the George Floyd thing. I mean, I remember watching the footage and I just got inspired to write that song right then and there, and I wrote it, and and ended up it took a couple of months to get it together, but I got it together and finally put it out. And then some friends of mine at My Music Black TV helped me get in touch with people to create the lyric video. And then so after I dropped those two things, most recently, I dropped a single called Major Leagues. And that single is actually produced by a friend of mine who lives in Chicago, a friend of mine and a producer who lives in Chicago by the name of The Mechanist. Not to be confused with The Mechanics. You pronounce his The Mechanist. It's
Okay.
Mekaniss, I believe is how you spell it. And also, I forgot to say the producer for Land of the Free. That's my longtime collaborator, Richie Famous, the same guy that did the beat for Right There and a couple other singles I got out.
Okay.
Oh, and
Yeah, I
also,
wanted to ask you something. Well, you
and
go ahead.
sorry to interrupt you. Also, another thing I did, I put together some footage. I'm a part of a upcoming virtual reality series called Behind the Hustle, and I film some footage for that right now, and I'm currently getting that edited so that we can drop that during the summertime. And I'm also working on some other projects that are going to be coming out pretty soon, but I'm sure we'll get a little bit deeper into that a little bit later on.
Okay. Hey, you know what? I appreciate the fact that you wrote something about George Floyd. Now, do you feel a year later after the George Floyd, debacle and the travesty that happened with George Floyd, do you feel that to a certain degree we making progress? Because me myself, I see that we taking baby steps, because I know in Berkeley they have passed some new regulations where basically the police can't pull you over for like bullshit reasons, and then the city of Antioch is working on some things. And I was thinking to myself, okay, that's the small cities, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about, what about San Francisco, New York, LA, the major cities where a lot of this stuff is happening? Are you satisfied, or do you feel we still have a long way to go as far as fixing this issue with the police brutality and how us blacks see the police? Because let's just face the fact, while they're trying to make an effort, we're still seeing these damn videos. They're
Well,
still happening post George Floyd.
I think, I'll be honest with you. I'm not satisfied. I'm not. I think like you. I think we're making some very, very small steps towards change. I would like to see some larger and more significant steps being taken, but at the same time, you got to look at the fact that this is a problem that has been going on for decades. It's just that now you have the technology, the smartphones, and everything, so where more of it is getting captured. But even before it was being captured and brought to the public's attention, it was happening. I think that there's a lot that goes into it. I think that when you start talking about racism and police brutality, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that goes into that too, and a lot of it has to do with economics. If you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
you take jails. What are jails? Jails, even though they're designed to be places where people get locked up if they do crimes, or they're supposed to go in there and get reformed, but they're also a business. They have to have money to fund them. They can get grants or get sponsored by private people. So obviously the more people that they have in their population, the more money that they can get towards services or upgrades or whatever it is that they're trying to do to the particular facility. So as long as you kind of have stuff like that going on, and you have private people, private industries that can control or have a controlling interest in jails, then a lot of this stuff is, just for that reason alone, is going to keep going on. So I think we're attacking it from one angle, but it's going to take a lot more to actually get the change that we need. So, but I mean, like I said, like you said, we're taking
Yeah,
baby
I
steps,
understand.
but we're not there. We're definitely not there. And I think we do have a long way to go.
Well, I'm glad you honest because, like I said, I'm not remotely satisfied. Because for basically finally acknowledging something. What about what's been going? We've been saying this for the last 50 years, and
Yeah.
this is we've been saying, hey man, what's up with this? And then I think another thing from me to you, Fluid. I think another problem is we got to face the fact that there got to be some extreme steps in their hiring process because
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
let's just face the fact, most of these cops that are where we at Union City, Oakland, they're not from the area. They from
True.
Vacaville, they from wherever, they from Danville, and a lot of them, let's just face the fact, they don't really have a long history of interacting with people that look like me. So of course,
True.
when they see guys
True.
like me or you, they gon' they already on suspicious mode. They already on paranoid mode, and I think they need to have some kind of training to like fix these guys if they and they need to admit that, hey, I'm not used to working in an area where it's primarily a lot of blacks, Hispanics, or whatever the case may be, and I'm a white guy. Do you think that's another thing they need to admit and just be like, have what you would call like racial training? Because we got to stop pretending that we're all the same, because everybody have different type of cultures, different type of backgrounds, and everybody don't live a certain way. And do you think if we just admit that there's a racial disparity, you think we'll be that's another step into making progress, instead of the police continuing to say, oh, I don't see color, when I no you and we all know that that's a fucking lie. Of course you see color. And
Yeah.
do you think that's something that we need to address and just come clean and just admit that race is a serious issue as far as policing go?
I do think, yeah, that well, can you hear me?
Hell yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Well, I do think that that is something that we do need to admit, but I think when you're looking at the police and the job that they are sworn to do, in law enforcement, I think there definitely needs to be some training on race, but there also needs to be some training for mental illness. And I think that there also needs to be, I think those officers, the officers themselves, their own mental health needs to be evaluated on a more regular basis. And the reason why I say that is because even if you were a cop who came into the force, and let's say that you weren't a racist, but you still have a job where you're dealing with some of the worst in society. You're seeing some of the most traumatic, dramatic, craziest things going on, and I think that on top and on that can affect you, and it's probably even worse if you're a racist on top of that. But I think that they need to have some training on terms of how to be a little bit more cordial with the public, how to be like how to be more like people persons, I guess, if you want to call it that. On top of like diversity training on how to deal with situations with mental health, and just training on how to just not like overreact and blow a situation out of proportion. So it ends up with people dying or getting hurt or some other unnecessary stuff. Learn better de-escalation techniques.
Yeah, because I look at a lot of these videos. I seen a video that just like it was just very disturbing. It happened in Plano, Texas. It was with a young man. He was like 18 years old. He walking home in the snow, minding his own business. And the
Hmm.
police pull up to him and they ask him, do he want to ride? He said several times, I'm good. And so instead of them just going, just going about their business, they follow him for 2 more minutes, provoking him, and it ends up with them aggressively arresting him. And he's telling them, hey, it's supposed to be a fair check. Hey, arrest him. He refuses. When he refuses, what the fuck? When he refuses, yeah, man. Sorry about that. Yeah, when he refuses to accept the ride.
Hmm.
I mean, I was just like, that was crazy. I'm like, you tell the people, you tell the police that you okay, and they still want to force the issue. And I'm like, man, you cannot be serious. And I'm just
Yeah,
like, wow.
yeah, that's definitely a gross misuse of their authority and their power, so to speak. But you know, a lot of the stuff that you see in the media is a result of that misuse of their power, misuse of their rank, misuse of their privilege, misuse of force, all that type of stuff. What I think, you know, a lot of police need to learn, and this is, you know, this is beyond the racist stuff. What police need to learn, first of all and foremost, they need to stop forgetting the fact that yes, we have a badge, we have a gun, we're in this uniform, but we're people just like these people that we're interacting with. How would I feel, you know, being a civilian and having somebody pull up on me and aggressively and forcibly try to make me do something that I don't want to do or that I don't have to do, or and then me get chastised for it and or get killed or beat up or arrested. They need to consider the fact that we're all human beings just like they are. They wouldn't want to go through that. And even more importantly, how would you feel as a police officer if this was your brother or little brother or cousin or uncle or dad or mom or grandmother that was out here getting harassed? They wouldn't like that shit. So why do you think
Ab-
it's okay to do it to other people?
Absolutely. I laugh at the fact because, you know, I've been, you know, driving while black, walking while black,
Oh yeah.
buying while buying while black, just, you know what I'm saying, eating while black. And
Yeah.
then they always say this stupid shit. Well, you know, I just want to make it home to my family. Well, motherfucker, I want to make it home too. You think you the only one that got somebody to go home to? They kill me with that shit. And then they say, a lot of times they'll say, "Hey, well, being a cop is a tough job." Well, you know what? Guess what? Being a black man is an even tougher job. You
Oh
know
hell
what I'm
yeah.
saying? So
Hell
save
yeah.
it.
By
So
far.
exactly.
Because we have no privilege when it comes to that situation. None.
Me and you, we get pulled over. We really have to wonder: is this our last day on earth? We make one
Exactly.
wrong move. And it shouldn't even be like that. But yeah, man, I just feel like we're making progress, but we got a long fucking way to go. So I wanted to ask you something else. I wanted to get to, you know, the music itself. You know, I know we have different styles of music, different type of hip hop, but to a certain degree, I'm a purist. I'm a traditionalist. I like what you bring to the table.
Thank you.
Do you
Thank you.
feel that we getting too deep? And I know, and I got to keep this 100. Do you feel like we going in a, are we already in a terrible direction with hip hop? Because I listen to your stuff, I listen to the lyrics, I listen to the music, but then I feel like to a certain degree, it's like we got what you call manufactured hip hop. And what I mean by mass produced hip hop is just like I cannot tell these artists from each other anymore because all of these artists sound the same. And that's why when and then I look at guys like you who bring lyrics, good wordsmith, writing everything to the table. And then I wonder, like, why do you continue to promote a lot of the other stuff versus what you would call lyricists and just craftiness to hip hop? Where has I mean, how did we get to this point to where all we getting all we getting shoved in our faces now, this new feminist uh Megan Thee Stallion stuff? And you know, I mean, Megan Thee Stallion, she have her lane, Cardi B have her lane, but then I feel like it's just one thing that they're throwing at us. I look at the, like I said, I look at a lyricist like you, a good writer like you, then I look at, you know, female artists like Rhapsody, 3D Nati, and they don't get none of the pub that Cardi B gets or Megan Thee Stallion or City Girls. And I think that and what I think is they're purposely aiming a certain type of hip hop, in particularly at black people, because I think now they didn't went to full blown slut hood, and I'm concerned about the direction that hip hop is going and how they're marketing these artists to black women.
Mm.
So I just wanted to get your take on it.
Um. Well, I got several things to say about that.
Go ahead, brother.
First of all, I don't know. I mean, I have mixed feelings about today's hip hop, and the reason why I say that is because you still have obviously, me and you, we're a little older than I guess than a lot of hip hop heads today, which and we coming from a generation where we came up on the Run DMCs, the EPMDs, the
Absolutely.
NWAs, the X Clan, Boogie Down Productions. I mean, I can
Absolutely.
I can go. I
Absolutely.
can name a whole bunch, but I'm not gonna name every one. But the point is, we still have that old school hip hop sensibility about us, and to a certain degree, there's still a lot of those older artists that are still active, and those are the main ones that we're listening to. Which is not to say that we don't listen to the Megs or the Cardis or some of the newer people that are out, but our love of hip hop is rooted in that old shit. So
Exactly.
unfortunately though, you have a lot of you have a couple different things. You have a lot of these young kids who have no knowledge about the pioneers that came before them, no knowledge and or no respect for the pioneers that came before them. Um, no true understanding of hip hop culture and how it's evolved and how it's grown from its inception to now. Also, the problem is that you have these record companies. Record companies have a tendency that when they find, the major labels have a tendency when they find a formula that works, they want to exploit it to the fullest. They want to milk it for everything that they can milk it. So you might have an artist like French Montana or somebody who's doing a certain something. And I have nothing against French Montana. I actually like him. But you have an artist like, say, French Montana. Let's say he has a formula that works. And the way that he does his voice, the way that he does his cadence, the way that he does his bars. And they say, okay, well, this is a successful formula. So now these little young artists that come to them that they're signing, they're trying to get them to make songs to emulate what's already successful and popular out there. And in some cases that's a good thing. And in some cases, all it does is keep, perpetuating bad music and ratchet shit and perpetuating the negative stereotypes of us of black and or hip hop culture. Um, so I think all of those things play a factor in the music that we're listening to now. Um, I don't, there's a lot of artists, now newer artists that I don't listen to and don't like, but there are a lot of artists that I do think are still talented. Like you take people like the whole Top Dog camp, the Black Hippie, and you got your J Rock, you got your Kendrick, your Ab-Soul, your Schoolboy Q, you got Reason, people like that. To me, those are younger artists, but they kind of have old school hip hop sensibilities about them. They're about wordplay, clever lyrics. They're about like uplifting the culture and talking about type of lyrics that invoke like um intellectual discussion or bettering us as opposed to just for lack of a better phrase, just ratchet shit. you know um and don't get me wrong, the ratchet shit, the wet ass pussy and all that other stuff, it has its place. you know if i'm
You're
at a, if I'm at a party, you know what I mean, and I'm tipsy, turned up, and they put that shit on, more than likely I'm gonna dance to it. You know what I mean? I like the beat, I like the groove, but the question is when I'm not turned up and when I just want to just listen to some genuine hip hop that's about something, I'm probably not gonna turn that song on. I'm probably gonna go listen to KRS One or Ice Cube or, believe it or not, E40 and Too Short. As much bitch and hyphy shit as they've done, they've also have a lot of songs where they've actually like talked about like what's going on in today's society, and especially if you listen to that new American Skin soundtrack. That is an excellent collection of songs featuring those artists, and
that,
they're
that's
actually saying something.
hey, that's funny that you brought that up. I want to ask you something. Did you see a couple of movies? Did you get a chance to watch the Judas and the Black Messiah and also American Skin? I saw both of those movies, and I liked American Skin a little bit more because the movie American Skin was so pinpoint accurate about it. I mean, it was just on point pretty much with everything. a lot of a lot of people complain about the ending, but I thought that Nate Parker did an excellent job. He dropped a lot of jewels that went over people's head. And as far as the Judas and the Black Messiah go, I thought the movie, it grew on me a little bit. I had to watch it 2 times, but I still had an issue with it because it was kind of like, if you haven't seen it, it was kind of like they was trying to a certain degree justify, Bill O'Neill being the despicable bastard that he was. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, that you get a chance to check out any of those films?
I have not seen either one of those films. Judas and the Black Messiah, I was actually planning on watching this weekend because I have HBO Max, so I was just going to stream it. As far as American Skin, I haven't seen that, but I do plan on watching that one as well. I'm probably going to watch Judas and the Black Messiah first, though, but at some point I will see American Skin.
I'm gonna tell you something. Not based off how you write, your rhyme skill, and what you bring to the table. I think after you see American Skin, I almost guarantee, Fluid, you gonna grab your pen and your pad.
Oh, I'm sure I will. I'm sure I
I'm,
will.
I'm pretty sure that you go grab your pen and your pad after you see, because I'm telling, and for real, when you get a chance to watch it, really watch it and take notes. I'm telling you, it's like 3 or 4 songs just out of that movie alone. And the Judas and the Black Messiah, that's probably, I mean, I'm gonna just put it to you. So I'm gonna just put it to you this way: it's gonna hit you really hard when you see the disappointment and Bill O'Neill. I don't want to tell you what happened, but you're gonna probably text me and be like, "Man, that motherfucker." So
Yeah. Okay.
you're gonna be like,
Okay.
"That nigga." I guarantee
Okay.
you're gonna be like, "Man, fuck Bill O'Neill." You might even write a song called Bill O'Neill.
Shit, I might, huh?
No, for real, brother. If you say you go watch it, hey, let me know if you write the song, because I already know it's gonna be fire.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that I will end up doing that. I mean, even I mean, just the whole premise of the movie, because I mean, I haven't seen it, but of course I've seen trailers and I do know what the premise of the movie is. So I mean, just even that invokes enough thought to make me want to write a song. But I am gonna reserve my final thoughts for when I actually watch the film. But I can almost guarantee, when you see stuff like that as an artist, as somebody who has a platform that I have, you kind of almost can't help but address those situations in your songs or in your art. You kind of I hate to say it, I almost want to say you kind of almost, if you're a conscious person, you kind of almost have a moral obligation to do that.
Wow, that's dope, man. Man, that's damn. You dropped the jewel with you dropped the jewel yourself, saying, Connie, you do have an obligation to write a song like that. That's cool, because that's pretty deep, that you think like that, to where it's like, well, damn, I have to address this.
Yeah, I
And
mean that was the reason that I wrote the Land of the Free song, because I just felt like, I was seeing a lot of other artists and a lot of prominent figures in the media speak out about it, and I was like, and I just realized, well, you have a platform too, Fluid. You, I'm sure that there are people out there that are wondering what your take is on this situation, and I would rather give my own take on the situation than to have somebody else invent a narrative and try to put words in my mouth and say that, oh, because he hasn't spoken out on it, that he doesn't feel a type of way or doesn't care. So I put that. So me putting that out was my way of saying, yes, I do care. These are my thoughts on it. And if you want to know what I think about it, listen to the song. But there's no way, after you listen to the song, that you can even attempt to put anything other than what I said in my brain or in my mouth.
okay, so earlier in the interview, you said that you possibly doing a reality show. Let me ask you something. Um, we know that we we know a lot of times, a lot of rappers sometimes, they transition from music to acting, which I don't have a problem with that. Do you see yourself possibly doing, television and film? And I think, based off what, the outlets and, basically the internet, you think it's a lot more easier to just, hey, if you got an iPhone and you write a script, you can pretty much do your own stuff, because it's a
Yep.
guy by the name of you might have heard of him. He became an internet sensation, like writing these short films. His name is Big Ja, and he got
Mm.
like it start. Yeah, he started writing these little scripts about growing up in the hood and all that stuff. So, do you see yourself like doing something like that? Because you don't need, as long as you got a good phone and you write a script and um, you could do or got the resources to get a camera. It's
Hmm.
a lot more easier to do this stuff now than what it was 20 years ago, where you needed camera, you needed cameras, lights, and all that kind of stuff. But now, if you got a little small camera, you know how to edit. You can like do everything yourself. So, do you feel like now it's easier to like act? And of course, we know eventually you may want to do the big budget productions, but is that something you would like to see yourself doing, like doing some acting and you know playing in movies and stuff like that?
I would love to get into acting and doing movies. I mean, actually, when I was a kid, in like elementary and like junior high school, I mean, I took drama classes. I acted in little stage plays and musicals and stuff here and there. So I've always had a love of like, stage and the screen. Plus just the fact that I'm a big movie buff and love movies anyway. And I would love to be able to star or even just have a part in a film, whether big budget or low budget. And actually, that Big Jaw guy, it's funny that you talk about him because I actually follow him. I follow him on Instagram and YouTube, and I also follow a lot of his associates like Rito Brown, B Simone, a lot of the other little comedians on there that do well, Desi Banks. Um, a lot of people that do like the little skits. Oh, Country Wayne too. That do like a lot of the little skits and funny stuff on IG and YouTube, and I could definitely see myself doing some stuff like that. I could even see myself doing some comedic stuff like comedy films even.
Oh, okay. Well, hey. I mean, this is a good step, man, because I mean, you know, things have started to get back to normal as far as television and film goes. So now they doing, shooting on location again. We are in the Bay Area. I mean, they do a lot of stuff in San Francisco. So, you know, would you like possibly looking to like possibly signing with an agency or something like that? And I know they do a lot of low budget stuff too. So, you know, do you have something like that in the works? And I know a lot of different people would, the mechanics or something be interested in doing movies.
Oh, I'm quite sure that the mechanics would be interested in doing movies, especially Forax, because that guy has his hands in a little bit of everything. He's already directing music videos for a lot of the artists that they produce for. So he's kind
Oh,
of getting
okay.
his directing chops up. And I know, I'm sure that could be something that would transition into acting. But I mean, if you think about it, any of us artists that have ever made like a music video, you could technically say that you have acting experience because I mean a music video is basically at least the ones that you see today, they're basically little mini movies. You have a director come and be a part of it and he comes up with a treatment or a script and you act out, you and the other people that participate in the video, you guys you all act out whatever it is that the director tells you to act out for a specific scene. And I've even myself even come up with, just basically got somebody to film a video and came up with my own treatments and acted out, basically acted out parts of the song. So I think that would definitely be a good thing for me to get into. And I think I'd be pretty good at it too.
Okay. Okay. I'm feeling that. So, you got a new album that you put out that was like produced by the mechanics, or if so, just tell us about what you got going on and what some future projects.
Well, one of the last times that we talked about doing I was talked about doing an EP with Forax, which is still in the works. He's been really, really busy as of late. If you've been kind of paying attention to the airwaves, the mechanics have been like doing production for tons of people, like just over the last like few months to a year. I mean, they're reaching out to all sort of places. Like I said, Forax is directing videos, and he also dropped his own solo album. So he's been pretty busy. So unfortunately, that project has gotten pushed back. But I am in the process of completing an EP project with with an associate of mine by the name of a rapper from the Bay Area. Well, he's originally from Iowa, but he lives in the Bay Area now. His name is Cletus Cassidy, and he's part
Oh,
of a
I know who that is.
yeah,
I know who that is. I
yeah.
know who that is.
So he's part of a collective called the Floss Gang, and also he has this a group with a guy by the name of Nuts So Fly called the Kill Committee, or KIL Committee, which stands for Keep It Lit. But him and I have decided, I was just introduced to him a couple months ago, and we were listening to each other's music, and we were just vibing so well. And he was talking to me. He was like, "Dude, I like your sound." He was like, "Well, if you want to come to my studio and record like an EP," he's like, "I make beats too. If you want to make an EP," he was like, "You can come through. I'll hook you up." And so I was talking to him. I said, "Well, I know that you rap and you're good at it." I was like, "If we're gonna do it, if I'm gonna do an EP with you, why don't we just do the EP together? We both can rap. If you got beats to contribute to it, that's cool. I know a bunch of producers that you can get beats from. So let's just pool our resources, put them together, and just come up with a Fluid and Cletus Cassidy album." But what that ended up evolving into is now tentatively we're talking about making it kind of like a group effort and calling ourselves the Cash Out Coalition. But anyway, we've completed a good solid about 5 to 6 songs. We're most of them are already mixed and mastered. We're just waiting to put the finishing touches on like one or two more, and then I'm hoping to be able to drop that project by April. I also have a project, an entire album project that I'm putting together with an artist from Brooklyn who's currently living in Atlanta right now by the name of Raw Mel. And I met him through a producer. Uh, the producer's name is Bino, or he also goes by Bino Other for Bino Other Beats. And he's a guy that I actually grew up with. We went to high school together. I used to be in the hip hop dance back in the day, and he was one of my dudes. We used to go to parties, and we turn the party out. We'd be doing the little hip hop dancing and stuff. But I transitioned into rap, and he also transitioned into rap, but he also got into producing as well. So Ramel is one of the artists that when he moved from California away to New Mexico, he ended up networking with, and he introduced the two of us. And kind of like the situation with me and Cletus Cassidy, we vibed and really hit it off. So he suggested us doing an album together. So we've been knocking out projects, songs here and there when we can together too. Now we kind of just started that project, so I'm sure that's going to probably be a few months down the line before we get that all together. But that's another thing that's working out. We don't have a title for it yet, but we're working on it. But the Fluid and Cletus Cassidy thing is probably tentatively going to be titled Cash Out Coalition, just like the name of the group. And that, like I said, hopefully will come out in April, or worst case scenario, maybe May. And then I want to drop. I've pretty much figured out what songs I want to put on my Fluid project, and I know for a fact that I want to call my album Fluidtopia. And I also have the title song Fluidtopia is produced by the Mechanics, so that's a little hidden jewel that I'm keeping tucked away. But you guys will get a glimpse of that later on. But I plan to drop that during the summertime. Right now, I'm in the process of getting all those songs mixed and mastered. I would say over half of them are ready to go, but there's still a few songs that my engineer needs to touch up. As soon as he's got that together, I'll get the album, artwork together and start putting together promo and start filming visuals and doing interviews and whatnot on that. So it's at least a good 3 projects that I'm hoping to be able to drop this year. I hope to at least do 2 of them. I'm not sure, how long it's going to take to finish the album with Raw Mel, but like I said, the one with Cletus Cassidy is almost finished, and the one I'm doing by myself is very close to being finished as well. It's just like I said, it's just a few little engineering things that have to happen to tighten up the sound, and then after that, I'm gonna get it put out there. So, got a lot of good things going, and there's also the reality series. I'm hoping that the reality series is going to be an ongoing thing. And I'm also hoping that once things get better, in terms of like this coronavirus situation, that I can hopefully, start like getting back to performing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would like to thank you for coming on the show. So tell anybody for booking if you want to do features and all that kind of good shit. Tell everybody how to get in contact with you. You know, if they want to, use your services. So plug everything, bro. Go.
Okay. First of all, my IG and Twitter handles are at fluid FLUID 001. If you want to, so you can also you can always DM me on either one of those platforms. You can also send an email message to me. My email is fluid motion music ent at gmail.com. I know that's kind of long, so I'm gonna say it again. Fluid motion music ent at gmail.com. So feel free to email me about any questions that you have about my music. If you want to contact me about features, like I said, you can also message me on Twitter or IG. My website is currently under construction because I had to get a new web hosting service, and I guess I waited too long to switch everything over, so I have to rebuild my website. But website will be coming soon, and that is www.7, the number 7, LUID.com. So basically, you're spelling out the word fluid and substituting the 7 for the letter F. So www.7luid.com. You can also find my music on soundcloud.com under fluid001, on reverbnation.com under fluid001, and you can find my music on most digital retail and streaming outlets like Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Play Music, iTunes, Apple Music, Deezer, like I said, SoundCloud, and pretty much anywhere where you can stream or download music, you can find my music up there. Just do a search for Fluid, and you'll find me. And for those who maybe are just tuning in or didn't see the first part of this interview, I just recently dropped a song called Major League. So that's the newest single that I have out. So you can look for that when you're looking for my music. And also, if you're on YouTube, my YouTube channel is Fluid 420. So the name Fluid FLUID and the numbers 42 and 0. Following that, I have a bunch of videos and other content up there, so you can check that out. I believe you can message me on YouTube as well, or leave a comment. And if you do check out my music, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that like button and definitely share.
All right, man. Thanks, brother, man. You welcome here anytime, man.
Oh, and got to give some shout outs to a couple of people, man. First of all, shout out to you for having me. I really appreciate that. Shout out to GRM Presents and My Music Block TV and Eyes for introducing us. And shout out to them in their careers too. Shout out to my producers, the Mechanics, the Mechanists, Richie Famous, C Beats, CMT Miraculous, DJ Rush, Be No Other, and Cletus Cassidy, and also Prozac. I got a couple of hidden jewels coming for him as well, so look out for those.
All right, man. Hey, hit me up, man. Anytime you drop something.
Definitely, brother. I appreciate you, man. You have a
All
good
right,
rest of
bro.
your evening. Thanks again for having me.
All right, bro.
All right. Take care.